So this is a continuous video in regards to the previous video. So I just wanted to make the closing remarks, and I had to do something, so I had to, cut the video in half, and then continuing from there. So yeah, my mother. I mean, even when my father was unable to provide for all her social, economic, and personal needs, she was there thinking of him, and she was there for him. And I remember in 2014, 2015, I think, I we had a I had a very heated argument with my mother, and then I said, "Mom, you should have left Baba, like your sisters and your family and and Baba's family, Baba's brothers used to say. You should have just taken his money and left. I mean, what do you got in the end? The guy got crazy. You had to, eventually go out and work in a sense, had to manage things for finances, go through a lot of pain. Was it worth it? Why did you do that?" And my mother answered me in a way that at that time I was not actually convinced and satisfied. But now, when I look at things in a different perspective, more Jewish perspective, I think that she made sense. She now makes more sense to me. So she said, "Benjamin, had I left your father, he would have gone crazy back then. Not only crazy, who knows, he would have just outrightly died. Or maybe he would have been just breathing, and living externally, but the inside of him, the man inside of him, would have died, because he would have felt that my brothers are right. She was, meaning my mother, she was just here for my money, and I'm not worth anything but my money, or any, it's and then my mother says that, a man, and I thought it was a ridiculous concept, and what is that? I never understood it. Even to a certain extent, I don't even understand it now. But she said a very strange thing, and she said, Marjabeen, these men, they need this more than love, and more than sacrifices that women make for them. More than that, they just need that assurance that their spouse or their wife will be there no matter what. That assurance that my wife will always be my wife or my partner. That loyalty, or that being there through thick and thin, is something inherent to men. And they if they don't get it, it breaks them in a very strange way, that it just kills the man inside them. I still don't understand. I mean, I understand it a little bit, but not exactly. Maybe I haven't met my soulmate, or I don't know. It is a deep concept after all. I don't think anyone who's single and not married yet probably would not understand that. Or maybe someone who's married to a wrong person also wouldn't be able to. Not, there is not a wrong person, but yeah, the your soulmate, because a soulmate is somewhat a part of you. And although my father had two wives, and I mean, no offense to my first mother, and I mean, it's very ridiculous, and talking about your parents like that is even ridiculous and kind of stupid. But I somehow feel that my mother was truly my father's soulmate, because I'm pretty sure the condition that my father lived for, I think, last 10 years, last 10 years of his life, because he got sick and then he got worse and worse and worse, and last 5 years were the toughest. But that woman, amount of resilience and the amount of patience and the amount of love and devotion she had for my father, I can't understand this. I haven't heard of any woman yet in my life. I'm 37 years old. Haven't heard a story, a book, a character, even a fictional character where a woman or even a man is this much, you know, loyal and standing there, or courageous enough to do such a commitment and such dedication towards their spouse. But I had the sheer privilege to know my mother, who was just there for my father. My father literally died in my mother's arms. It was 24 December. She made breakfast for him. She fed him. My brother, actually, it was my brother. My mother actually was making breakfast for all of us. So what she did is she quickly made breakfast for my father, and she asked my brother to, feed him the breakfast until she finishes making breakfast for all of us. But my brother was in the washroom. He was taking showers. So my mother said, it's going to be late and your father is hungry. So she actually went in and feed him breakfast and everything. And he said he wanted more tea. She just went and got filled a cup of tea for him. And then he called my mother, and she was just heating up the tea for him to pour another cup. And then he called my mom. We were, I think, getting ready to go. I was working at that time, so I had to get ready and go for work. And I was finishing up my tea, and my mother went to my father, and because he was calling her. And I was the first one to see, because she started crying that your father is no more. And I just went in and okay, I'm sorry. So literally my father was in my mother's arms. That's how he died. So it was tough. And so I think in my personal opinion, and my mother used to say to me, after your father got married to me, he never had an extramarital affair after marrying me. He never he was a different man after marrying me. He was quite happy. And then she was and I said to my mom, yeah, you brought the best in my you brought the best in Baba. And she would say, yeah, of course, I brought the best in your father. He made this wonderful home. He purchased a lot of lands, not only for us, my brother, or our family, my mother's children, my mother, but also for your step brothers and your uncles. And that's kind of true. After marrying my mother, my father rapidly had a lot of promotions and stuff, and he was like getting a lot of connections and stuff, and he suddenly had a lot of money. And then he purchased a lot of stuff and a lot of property, and then he gave it to his brothers. Some of our step brothers got some stuff, and he also built a home for us in our village, and then built this home. And still a lot of many people say to us, sell this big house. It's just too much for you guys to manage and stuff. My brother also, my brother has been told by many of his friends that sell this property and land and everything. And when my mother was alive, she used to say, even if I live or die, do not sell this home, because your father has built this home, made this home with a lot of love for us and for her. So many of our family members didn't understand why my mother didn't want to sell this home and the things that my father had purchased, because she had a lot of love for him, and she could not um, let go of the things that he did for her. And I used to say to her when my father was sick and we didn't have money and we didn't even have our school fees. And I used to say, Mom, let's just sell this home and go live in a flat or a smaller home. And my mother used to say, we don't have money. This is a small amount of money that we have. We have to manage in this. I'm not selling this home. And, and the other day, I think in the last class, my rabbi, my personal rabbi who I do my chavruta with, he asked me something, and I just said, yeah, I can't sleep because there is no Beit HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, because I cry, and I cry, and it doesn't make me sleep well at night to think that the Jewish people do not have the Beit HaMikdash, because this kind of reminds me of my father building a home for my mom and us. So it's since Israelites and Hashem has this marital relationship, I actually feel sorry that there is no Beit HaMikdash, and it's just not good. So yes, that's also a reason. So if my rabbi watches that, so this is one of the reasons. But I think, yeah, and like my mother brought the best in my Baba, I think Esther also kind of brought the best from the best out of her very Gentile Persian king. He was about to give this okay to this decree that he had signed, in the influence under the influence of Haman, and he was about to kill all the Jewish subject of his kingdom. And here was this Jewish queen who saved her husband, her Gentile Persian husband, from doing this gravest sin, and not only saved her husband but also saved her people, and then brought them back to Jerusalem and built the mixture. It's the second holy temple. So I kind of made that analogy, and I think Purim also tells us this amazing story that like Esther, who was hesitant to go into the king, her husband. It tells us to have this courage to go talk to our spouses or even our family members or our friends when they're doing something outrageous and you feel that that's not right, that's going to hurt them, and that's going to be bad for them in the future, and it is not a good decision. We must and we should have this courage to tell our spouses and tell our friends and family that think over it, maybe you're not doing this right. And who knows, if Putin had a wife, she would have taught him to tell him or made him understand that what he is doing is not right. And I always believed a world leader, choose a politician. Okay, that's a big advice. Choose a politician who has a functional and a healthy marital life. That leader would serve his people way better than a leader who does not have a very good intimate life, or very good marriage. If a leader is not married or has not a very good marital life, I don't think that kind of person is suitable to be the head of the state and to serve its people. The clear difference you can see in the Ukrainian and Russian conflict, where one Jewish president has a very wonderful, healthy, and flourishing marital life with a very beautiful and amazing woman, and then there is another leader who is divorced and does not have And by the way, people who do not have a very good, marital life, I think, because Hitler had a mistress, he didn't had a wife, um, and then again, they didn't even have children. So that is, I think, having a healthy marital life qualifies you to lead your people as politicians or head of states. That's one thing. And my mother also taught me this very, very beautiful lesson, that no matter how difficult things are, and no matter, there is this point in life where your spouse is unable to give you anything in return, is unable to, he or even she are unable to provide you for that, for the things that you expect from them. Like for my mother, it was my father's sort of thing that he would have provided, that socio-economic thing. Or okay, economics, that can be handled. Both I mean, we are kind of living in an era where both the spouses earn a living and then contribute into a family to build a home, and to nurture their families. But it's, I mean, my father was unable to provide emotional support, or intimacy or anything. But even then, for I think more than a decade, my mother was there for him. And as things deteriorated, she was firm. I'm not going to send your father to a mental asylum. It was hard. It was very hard for us, but she was there and she never left. Even when she was unable to conceive, she was, at all cost. And that's in the end. Even she died in 2016, and up till her death, her motto was that: think very, very carefully whom you get married to. Do all the thought process and thinking and this and that. But once you're married, you're married. There is no divorce. She was the most anti-divorce person. I mean, no, there is no divorce. Marriage is not a mistake. Therefore, you cannot correct a mistake with another mistake like a divorce. So I just wanted to share this, and I think, in the Purim thing, I think this is something that I can take away, that just like, Esther not only saved her people, but I think her Jewish people as a Jewish person or as a Jewish queen, but she also saved her husband from committing this grave sin of killing all the Jewish subjects in that time. And she just hanged that Haman, which was actually trying to get in the way of Esther and her husband. So I think that is the thing. And also trust. Have this, I mean, huge amount of trust and faith in your partner, and stand with your partner no matter what they go through in life. I think that is the core of this relationship. Your siblings are there, but then they have their own life. Even your parents, they give birth to us, they nurture our lives, but eventually we need to live our own lives. They are not part of our decision making or our free will or our lives. It's our spouse it's our spouse who is there with us all through our lives. And I think this is what my mother told me the most. I hope that this emotional story of my mom is and will inspire people, especially couples, that sometimes it's just it's not a give and take. Sometimes it's just giving without getting anything in return. So I hope people have valuable and nurturing married lives. And people who are not married like me should find their soulmate. ASAP. So, Chag Sameach once again. Have a great Purim. Thank you very much. Hope everyone had a great Purim. Thank you.